Well, hello, welcome to Tarot to a T. Today's reading will be for mid-March 2023 for the sign of Libra. Okay, we are starting. And if this is the first time to my channel, welcome. And if you're returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for your support. I truly appreciate you subscribing and or donating to my Buy Me a Coffee, which can be found at the, actually I'm going to take this back, it was too many, sorry. The Buy Me a Coffee account, which can be found at the bottom of the description box, if you'd like to make a small donation. And I would like to mention that I'm going to start doing extended readings, but I have figured out that I can't do all the signs. I just don't see how I could fit it into my schedule. So, if you like this video, make sure that you hit the like button, because next month, April, I will start looking at the likes for each sign on the video, and whatever the highest one is, that will get the extended reading, which I believe I'm going to put them on that Vimeo platform. So I just wanted to mention that before I forget it. I think I've forgotten to mention it a few times. And we're almost at the point of starting your reading while I was yapping along. Okay, let's go ahead and get into it, Libra. King of Clubs is your first card. This could be a fire sign you're dealing with. Somebody that you perceive to have some power or an authority over you, or just in general, like in a high position. So it could be a Leo, Sagittarius, or Aries you're dealing with. If not, you could have this in your chart. I generally see that the King of Clubs as being someone you can go to for guidance, support. They can be kind of in a counselor role, but the big thing to highlight with them is the support and generosity they can extend to those around them, even though they're in this power, this position of power. Two of Diamonds. This talks about balance being in your finances, but in particular in some kind of partnership or relationship. If you are single, I just generally see that as you having balance in your finances. But if you're in a relationship, it seems to be a highlight here that finances are particularly nice in this partnership that you have. It doesn't have to be romantic, but that's usually who we are involved in when we mix our finances with other people. Jack of Hearts. You could be dealing with a younger water sign, Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. I also tend to see the Jack of Hearts as you, the sign that I'm reading for, having your heart open. And with that comes a natural vulnerability. So far, I'm not seeing any relevance between these cards, so I'm not making a judgment now what this is going to be about. But that tends to be more about relationship. And this over here didn't seem that way, so let's keep going. Well, we have relationship highlighted again with the Six of Hearts. Six of Hearts talks about options and opportunities coming your way in terms of meeting somebody significant. And again, that doesn't have to be romantic. You know, we can meet significant people that make an impact on our lives. Maybe not from the first meeting, but eventually, especially if you develop a relationship with them or connection. So it could be a business partner, it could be a close friend or an ally. Just be aware that whatever socializing you're doing or the people that you meet, you could be meeting somebody who's going to be important to you in some way. So let's go ahead and pull more cards for Libra's situation going on mid-March 2023. Eight of Diamonds. This tends to talk about some kind of entrepreneurial pursuit that you're on. A solo effort of some sort, but in particular, the solo effort or entrepreneurial pursuit could be paying off. You could be receiving dividends, reaping some kind of rewards. It's a very good sign financially. Again, I'm kind of seeing an emphasis both on relationship and finances, because we had that Two of Diamonds earlier. What else can you tell me here? Okay, another another Nine of Diamonds. So there's some kind of achievement that you've had in finances, I'm suspecting. Strongly suspecting here. This is a completion, so that you're very satisfied, sorry, in some way. There's some kind of satisfaction involved in this, but it also denotes that you're able to take financial responsibility that wasn't available to you before. So, I mean, that could be very much connected with the Eight of Diamonds, and the Two of Diamonds is reflecting that balance in your finances in general. So I feel like this is something that's come along for you, that's fresh. It's a new situation for you financially, for example. And that definitely could be reflected with the King of Clubs. If this is not someone around you who's offering this support and generosity, this could be you, because now you're in a position of power. You see how that's connected? And the power is not necessarily like you're a boss or you're a supervisor. I mean, you certainly could be. Maybe that's where the financial accomplishment came through. It could just be that money, unfortunately, or abundance brings us power. That's kind of the reality of the world, the way it works. But you're open to relationships while you're experiencing some kind of nice abundance that you've accomplished here. Some kind of financial power. That's how I'm interpreting it. But you're definitely open or ready for relationships. So let's see what else we got going on for Libra for mid-March 2023. Seven of Clubs. Well, that's an interesting card to come out. This is the card of feeling trapped. Like you're in a situation, or I'm not sure what it's pertaining to. That's why I stopped there for a second. Because it could be like a relationship going nowhere. It could be a job situation that's not going anywhere, where you feel stuck. And you literally feel some kind of confinement. Maybe the work that you're putting in to accomplish this financial abundance is leaving you feeling this way. This is usually about internal experiences, these sevens. So maybe you feel kind of tied down with the work that you're putting in, even though it's paying off in a big way. You're still feeling trapped by it, like you have to keep going. If you're employed by somebody else, obviously that's an employer who's pressuring you to keep up the pace, for example. But I don't see the stress card coming out yet, so not sure how that would pertain to your Libra. And I do want to mention, again, this is a general reading, so if it doesn't fit your situation, you can come back for the next reading. It might. So don't make it fit. But you did just get the Tower card. So things might get interesting here. This is the new start. Towers talk about the structures that need to come down because they're not stable, but you still have that foundation to build from. And they can be traumatic on some level, not necessarily. It's just like a major change, right? A major need for something new. I mean, I tend to view it like, you know, when they have old like apartment buildings that need to come down because they're basically deemed unsafe. And it's not that there's not going to be another apartment there ever again. It's just that they need to either renovate the building or tear the whole thing down and start over. You know, a lot of times that's what happens because it's just it takes too much time and energy and effort to make the old building work. Sometimes it's just easier to start over. That's kind of what the Tower is about, and so you are on some kind of new start. I think it's this financial plateau, not plateau, that's a terrible word to use, but like I feel like it's a level that you've reached. and it's a plateau in the sense that you're on this even ground with your finances, but that could be where this new start is. You finally achieve this. Something's come to completion. The hard work and effort, if I can pick it up, is paying off. You're reaping the rewards from that. So now you're like restarting your life. Oh, and let's not forget the Nine of Diamonds talks about taking financial responsibility. So perhaps you did pay off all your debts and you're like at a place of a clean slate. But I feel like, again, there's a feeling that you're trapped in this. On some level, it's making you feel stifled. Like maybe it's taking too much of your time. Like maybe you had more freedom before. I'm going to go ahead and look at the cards of advice. I think this is a good point to start with that. So there is, what did I just say? There's a little bit of confusion or indecision, I should say, around finances. Being pulled into two different directions. Yeah, I'm getting the feeling, Libra, that you're enjoying the success, but on the other hand, it's pulling you away from the things you used to love to do, your family perhaps. You're just not able to spend time doing those things that you really enjoy doing. Even if this was a promotion, there's a price to pay for being elevated and put in a higher position. I personally have never had that occur, and I've never been that kind of ambitious person to even seek that out. It's not like I wouldn't welcome it. It's just it's not something I've ever desired. But I watch people get in those positions because I have worked with people closely who elevated and suddenly they're in a higher position, and I see the adjustment they have to go through, because it is an adjustment. I mean, you have all this, probably an increase in salary, increase in responsibilities, but you also have to sacrifice some of your freedom, and your relationships with people will change. So that could be this indecision, this being, you being pulled. And I think, again, you have this desire to pursue these new relationships, and perhaps you're being pulled away from that as well. Let's not forget that. Seven of Diamonds. Yeah, so you're enjoying this wealth, abundance, these finances, but this is the card warning against gambling, taking unnecessary financial risks. So take that advice. This is in your advice column. Four of Spades, and it has released some stress around the home. Your lifestyle is probably a lot freer than it used to be, because the fours talk about stability and what's going on in the home life, but you're in a period of stress relief. So I have a feeling that's tied in with the finances again. And look at this. Yep, you if you watch the spending as highlighted with the Seven of Diamonds, okay, this is the ultimate success and prosperity card, and this talks about you closing a chapter. So you've reached a pinnacle. Whatever bar you set for yourself, you've reached the bar and probably exceeded that. And especially, again, if you're careful with how you handle it going forward, be reasonable. Just be reasonable. Now that you've paid off all your debts, don't get yourself back into that position thinking, oh, now I can just pay things off again and spend a little more and spend a little more. I've fallen into that trap. I know how it feels to have a credit card with no balance on it, and you're thinking, yeah, I'll just put this on there and I'll pay it off in no time, and then next thing you know, you have this credit card balance again that never goes away. And it sucks. So, Seven of Spades. Something is going to be revealed to you. Something's going to become obvious to you. Perhaps a couple of the issues I brought up in this reading will spark some insight. You'll have an epiphany. It's kind of the epiphany card. It's also, in some situations, it can be hidden information that somebody's intentionally hiding from you, and then you discover what that is. But it can be unpleasant with that Seven of Spades. That kind of highlights not nice information, not pleasant things necessarily. Just coming, meeting reality head on. It's kind of the hard, what do they say, the hard facts of reality, the coldness of reality. I don't mean to make it sound all gloom and doom, but sometimes we just have to look things and see them for what they are. And sometimes it's not as ideal as we pictured it in our minds. So there. And the Five of Spades. Perhaps breaking, this is the breakup card, but I don't see you breaking up from a relationship. Perhaps breaking up from an old mindset. An old opinion. I see that tied in with the Seven of Spades. Yeah, I think this is going to change your mind about something. Or your opinion, I should say. Not like you're making a decision, just like you've had this vision of perhaps what this wealth, when you finally achieved it, because you've had it in the back of your mind for a while, and now that you've achieved this success, the reality is here. And something about it, like I said, for any of the reasons I just mentioned, it could be that you just realize it's not as glamorous as you thought it would be, or it didn't solve problems perhaps that you thought it would solve. Money doesn't solve all the problems in our life, unfortunately. Sometimes it brings more. So I see the breakup card as that change coming in, that you have a new mindset, you have a new outlook. And not necessarily negative. Just reality check. I might call this reading reality check. I don't know. I'm kind of leaning in that direction, that's kind of like what that is. Yeah. Things are up in the air for you, and the Fool card is also denoted with this black and white Joker. Fool card is all about not knowing what lies ahead. It can be a little, nerve-wracking, a little scary, but it's not necessarily. It's just that you don't have a crystal ball. It's a reminder that you don't know what lies ahead. You don't know where this is going to lead you. That could be part of the reality check, the epiphany, the thing that occurs to you, that comes to you, that didn't occur to you before. That could all be wrapped up with the Fool card. Very, very nicely, actually. I see that as a very tight fit. Between those three cards, the change, letting go of something, because breakup is also letting go of something. And the Seven of Spades is that information coming to light. I'm going to ask for one more card of advice before I wrap this up. I don't want to just leave it as you not knowing what's ahead of your path here. Maybe something a little bit more positive. No, not necessarily. There is going to be some struggle and fight. You're going to feel like you're being pulled in different directions. I think, like I said, if I'm talking to Libras who have experienced promotion in some form, there's a lot of pulling in different directions. How you feel about finances is there, and this is just, you're fighting with your value system, perhaps. You're fighting with your gut. And just you're having to make decisions that perhaps you didn't anticipate you had to make. I know one thing that happens with people who get promoted, and let's say they have coworkers at work that they were friends with on some level, they had some camaraderie, and then when they're elevated above those people, those relationships change, sometimes dramatically. So that could be, again, what this Three of Clubs is highlighting. Let's see if we get another card of advice, though. Maybe some card to tell you how to deal with that. Communication is key. Okay. That will restore the harmony and balance. However this is panned out for you, Libra, especially if you're in a promotion and you're like a supervisory position, I think it's very clear that communication will help you. So just keep that in mind. And that's just communicating with everybody probably around you and those above you as well. But expect this is going to be a little bit of a challenge for a while. You don't have to see this as you fighting with people. When I say struggle and fight, I don't mean like that necessarily. It's just it's going to be challenging, and you don't know where this is going to lead you ultimately. Maybe you'll decide you don't like to be in this position and you move on to something else. I've seen that happen. I've seen people who were supervisors for a while and then they realized they're not really a people person, for example, and they don't want to deal with the people aspects of managing people. As strange as that sounds, not everybody's cut out for it and they don't particularly like it, you know. But be careful with that spending, and congratulations that you have a very abundant outlook future here. That I think it's already started for you, so I'm not going to say it's coming. I think it's already started. But if you keep on this path of caution and just using common sense and being practical, you have achieved the ultimate prosperity and success, at least what you thought was possible for yourself. It doesn't mean you can't rise above that and go any further. By no means does it mean that you're done. But you can be if you want to be, right? Okay, I'm going to end it there. Thank you for joining me. Again, if you like this video and are interested in seeing an extended reading for Libra in April, make sure to hit the like symbol. Make sure to hit subscribe notifications if you'd like to know when the next reading comes out, and make sure if you're interested in making a small donation to show your appreciation to support the channel, you can go to that link at the bottom of the description box, okay? Thank you in advance if you can do that, and I will see you again soon. Take care.